The only Super Bowl that he made was his second year in the league. But it can happen. It's conceivably it can happen. I mean, and so he's within a field goal of getting back-to-back Super Bowls. And it's hard to get there. Not impossible. You see what the two teams that went to the Super Bowl this year, it's not just your talent and how good you are. That has a lot to do with it. But you need a lot to go in your favor. You need some breaks. And did the Eagles get a break against San Francisco? They was already got a break. They're playing against third-string quarterback. Yes, Brock Purdy. He's third-string quarterback. If you ask the Eagles who they want to play in the NFC Championship game, the first-string quarterback, second-string quarterback, or the third-string quarterback, they're going to say three. I don't even know who Kansas City Chiefs' third-string quarterback is. But you think, excuse me, you think the Bengals didn't want to play against the third-string quarterback? They would have loved to even see the second string. They would love to have Chad Henne. But the starters make a difference, guys. It makes a difference. So you need that to go in your favor. The Eagles played against a third-string quarterback who got hurt in the first series of the game. He came back in the second half. Only thing he could do was hand the ball off. He said, I couldn't throw the ball past 10 yards. So the backup got hurt for San Francisco. He's in concussion protocol. You thought he was going to wake up in the fourth-string quarterback. You thought he woke up yesterday morning thinking he's going to play. But injuries are part of the game. And so the Eagles had a big assist from San Francisco. I believe the Eagles were going to beat San Francisco anyway. But that game was pretty competitive until the injuries came in, and it just separated. Well, and the difference, the Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going back and forth between the two. The Bengals are down 3 offensive linemen. 3 of your 5 starters are backups. Yet the Bengals slugged it out, and the difference of the ball game was they was able to effectively shut down the Bengals running game, and they put a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow. Forced him in a couple of, turnovers. And I can't get on the Cincinnati Bengals too hard because last year we said they got to help. Joe Burrow needs some help, and they went out and got him help. But injuries are part of the game. So you get to the end of the last game of the season, and for the AFC Championship, and you're starting 3 backups. And for the Bengals to fight that hard, to have a chance to win it, it was an amazing season. And, a lot of teams had successful seasons last year. It's just that when you lose, it's hard for you to see the forest for the trees. It's hard to have an appreciation of how good your season was. And over the next week or two, we'll put it all in perspective on, whose season was successful or unsuccessful. But without a doubt, this was a successful Cincinnati Bengals season. Success doesn't always mean you at the Super Bowl. Or see the Super Bowl or bust. That's everybody. That's the goal for all 32 teams. But only one team is going to get that trophy. This year, hopefully it's the Philadelphia Eagles. But if not the Eagles, it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. But everybody else's season was just as, was successful or failure. We can go through them. I mean, I'm looking in the AFC North. I mean, who didn't have a successful season? The Cleveland Browns. But who was expecting the Cleveland Browns to have a great season? They knew going into the season, they got quarterback Deshaun Watson, who was had to go through 11-game suspension. So you knew that from the get-go. And the goal in Cleveland was hopefully we can be 7-3, 7-4, or something like 8-3 by the time Deshaun Watson gets back and he can take us to the Super Bowl. Yeah, in reality, it was almost the opposite of that. So Cleveland didn't have a successful season. Did the Baltimore Ravens have a successful season? I would say overall they did. They made the playoffs, guys. They made the playoffs. Was out their top gun for almost half the season. Justin, was the last 6 games Lamar set out. That's the successful season. It can be better. The Pittsburgh Steelers, did they have a successful season this year? Rookie quarterback Kenny Britt Kenny Pickett. Hey, Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. This was the season he's supposed to have a losing season. That's coaching, people. He put on a coaching clinic. Yeah, his team finished 9-8, but he went into week 17 with a chance to make the playoffs. They overcame a lot in Pittsburgh, and you don't hear me compliment them too much because I'm a Steeler hater, along with a Cowboy hater, but I still tell the truth. The Pittsburgh Steelers season was successful to be 9-8. And then to wrap up the AFC North, Cincinnati Bengals, 12-4. After starting the season 2-2, finished the regular season 12-4. And who knows, it probably even could have been 13-4 if they didn't have to, the DeMar Hamlin game. But, who cares about that game? We only care about DeMar Hamlin. That's what we care about. So even in the AFC North, because that is the quickest way to make the playoffs, win your division. Just win your division. Then you'll get there. It happens. I bet you the Pittsburgh Steelers wish they was in the AFC South because they've been 9-8. They'd have been in a tiebreaker situation against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who was 9-8, and they won the AFC South. So in AFC South, I say the Jacksonville's season was a success, even though at 9-8. They went from what pick of the draft were they last year, like second or first? To making the playoffs. So that was a successful season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tennessee Titans, not so much. 7-10, not a good season. Indianapolis Colts, not a good season. They fired their coach. Houston Texans, 3-13, not a good season. Coach got fired. You look at the AFC East. The Buffalo Bills, 13-3, appearance in the playoffs with a playoff win. Successful season. It could be better. The Miami Dolphins made the playoffs, 9-8. They were going into the playoffs with a third string quarterback. Losing your quarterback Tua, who may or may not play again. I don't know. It's hard to say. But the season was successful in Miami. New York Jets, dumpster fire, 7-10. Quarterback issues, just to say the least. And then rounding out the AFC, Kansas City Chiefs, hey, they're headed to the Super Bowl. Enough said. Los Angeles Chargers finished season 12-7, was up in the playoffs 27-0. I don't think that was a successful season for the San Diego Chargers. I still call them San Diego Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers, even though they made the playoffs, coaches, I'm shocked they still have the same coach. That roster is too good for what they're putting up out there. Las Vegas Raiders, 6-11. No estimate. Denver Broncos fired their coach, 5-12. Not a successful season. That's just in the AFC, guys. But I'll take a break before I get back to the talking about the NFC East. I want to go back to the playoffs yesterday. The Cincinnati Bengals and the San Francisco 49ers. I've been saying for the last couple of weeks since we've been in a playoff mode, you make the playoffs, the NFL teams make the playoffs based on how well they did over 17 games. Over 17 games, everybody has strengths, everybody has weaknesses. Your strengths outweighs your weaknesses. That's why you apply. That's why you made it to the playoffs. And once you make the playoffs, you're playing against all playoff teams. And the way you don't advance in the playoffs is because your weaknesses got exposed before you can expose the other team's weaknesses, first, because both of y'all have weaknesses. You look at the Philadelphia Eagles and San Francisco 49ers game, but that was two heavyweights. Y'all got the number one defense, we got the number one offense. Y'all got this, we got that. The difference of that ball game was, one of the differences were the turnovers, but San Francisco's down to their third string quarterback. You knew at some point they had to catch up. Otherwise they already had the cereal boxes printed. Put Brock Purdy on a new cereal box. Brock Purdy's going to be the quarterback in the future. He still may be. I don't know. But I know this. San Francisco had a heck of a defense. They made a trade in the middle of the season to get Christian McCaffrey. That seems to be working out very, very well. But they still have some holes at the quarterback position. They got volume, but they all hurt. So that weakness didn't get exposed until yesterday. Third string quarterback, not, put, any salt in no injury, but he got hurt on the opening series. The backup quarterback comes in, he gets hurt. Hey, the quarterback position, but you to be in the playoffs, to be in the NFC Championship game on your third string quarterback, hey, dude, that's a heck of a accomplishment from the San Francisco 49ers. That's success. But that was also going to catch up to them at some point. That's why they didn't advance in the playoffs. It's simply why they didn't advance in the playoffs. Why didn't the Cincinnati Bengals advance in the playoffs? Injuries. Injuries, number one, but they are not the smartest of team, discipline-wise. I mean, you got to understand down and distance in situational football. I'm not going to dogpile. What's the linebacker's name? Justin to hit Pat Mahomes laid out of bounds. It's an African name, Osai.
It was Osai. He's the kid
Osai.
from Texas, 22 years old. But yeah, he was drafted by Texas last year. And then his very first play in the preseason, he sacked Tom Brady. And then he went down. Very first play of the preseason for the Bengals in 2021. Sacks Tom Brady and was out for the season with an injury. Had a great game yesterday, but unfortunately, at 22 years old, that's going to be the. I mean, it doesn't matter what age you are, but that's so young in his career, first full season, and that's going to be his lasting memory, eating him away for the next, however many months till the season picks back up. But very tough scene.
Well, it's going to eat him up until they get back to the AFC Championship game.
Did you see the scene? B.J. Hill stood next to him in the press conference afterwards, just shaking.
I didn't see that.
I thought it was like, that's one hell of a teammate right there. He stood right next to Osai, and anytime a media member tried to ask him a question about anything that just seemed a little off, he just said, hey, he's not answering that right now. He's not answering it. Ask him football questions, and let's keep it moving. But he was tore up. Jermaine Pratt, there's a clip of him basically bashing him heading into the locker room. So Jermaine Pratt's getting a lot of heat right now because of the, unprofessionalism on his end. But I didn't want to take that away, let that be the face of the Bengals organization, because every teammate stood next to him when one form or next. But BJ Hill directly next to him during that press conference. I thought that was pretty cool. Just a teammate coming to his aid, especially. It's easy to be there for you when everything's going well, but that's the lowest of lows right there. And his teammate was right next to him. I thought that was a pretty cool storyline, if you will, to come out of last night's game.
Yes, that's a good way to support your teammate. But that goes back into the coach's lab, Zach Taylor. You got to discipline these guys better. You got to teach them situational football. Pat Mahomes is clearly running out of bounds. Not only was he running out of bounds, he didn't have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. He had 2 feet out of bounds on the white, and you hit him anyway. These rules are here, to screw you over. You can't hit quarterbacks like that, man. I don't care if it was a running back. It's a late hit, man. You got to be smarter. The game's going to go to overtime. Know the situation, not just the down distance, but know situational football and awareness. So overall, I think the Bengals got to be smarter as a football team. You got to talk to them all the time, and emphasize it. And you just don't go out to practice and just run plays. You got to make it make sense. You got to have everything, all the rhyme and reasons for what we're doing. And you're showing somebody how to be a professional and how to get out of it, how to get the best out of your ability. I remember when I was in New England with Bill Parcells, we used to go for it on fourth down, not as much as they do now, but when we would go for it, we never went for it on fourth down and called a timeout on after the third down play. We always, when we went for it, it was just the regular rhythm flow of the game, because we used to practice that. In the down and just situational football, it's 4th and 3, we're going for it. Then to talk about it, just here, boom, it gets to be second nature, and we converted a whole lot more than we didn't convert. So the Bengals, is Zach Taylor's job and responsibility is get the message clear about what to do and what not to do, especially in a situation like that. Something we haven't talked about yet is the special teams. Offense wins offense wins games. Defense wins offense sells tickets. Defense wins games. Special teams win championships. I mean, I don't know how the script is going to be written for Kansas City this year, but somewhere along their highlight film, they're going to talk about this big punt return that helps set up, Pat Mahomes, game-winning field goal based with the extra 15-yard boost from Asai. It's the little things that you have to pay attention to. That's the difference between advancing in the playoffs or not advancing. I mean, you look at the Eagles game yesterday. We got to go to break after this. 4th and 3, the Eagles go for it on opening drive. Devontae Smith goes up, makes a one-handed catch, but it hit the ground. It would get overruled, but they ran, hurry. Run the next play, it's a moot point. It is a moot point before the replay booth could identify it. Imagine if, that game was a close game yesterday, and instead of the Eagles getting the touchdown, they get nothing because they went for it on 4th down. How it could have changed complexity and the momentum of the game. They all add up, guys. They all add up. Just like this adds up. We got more to talk about. We got to go to break. You're listening to the Keith Byars radio show presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken.
I studied Spanish in college and never got fluent. But then I tried Babbel.
Want the most effective way to learn another language? In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons will have you learning another language in as little as 3 weeks.
Babbel gets you speaking quickly about things you actually talk about in the real world.
University studies have shown that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a semester of college Spanish. If you want to learn a new language, there's no better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try Babbel for free. That's Babbel.com. Finding great candidates to hire can be like, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
People of the world, I am Chef Jose Andres, and I'm here with an important message. I'm speaking to you from downtown Quezon. As tonight gets dark, people are gonna go to their homes without electricity, without water, and very often without much food to eat. This winter is gonna be brutal, not only for the people of Kherson, but for many, many Ukrainians all across Ukraine, but especially in the places that they've been recently liberated near the front lines. The people of Ukraine right now are fighting for freedom. We're here with a very simple ask. World Central Kitchen will be able to keep doing the work we've been doing over the last 8-9 months with your support, with your help together. I know we will not leave the people of Ukraine alone.
Donate now at WCK.org.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality, you need a partner that you can count on. If you're a man in this situation, consider contacting Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men navigate complex legal matters for 30 years.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Dayton area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 2689 Commons Boulevard, Suite 100, Beaver Creek, Ohio, 45431. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Are you suffering from chronic joint pain like Heather?
So I have terrible arthritis and have had it for quite a while. And I've gone to all kinds of doctors trying to figure out what to do. And everybody just said surgery. And surgery was months of rehab. And I didn't want to do that.
But then Heather discovered QC Kinetics, local medical professionals who specialize in natural biologic treatments, non-invasive solutions designed to repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. And she absolutely loves the results.
I like to tell anybody who's suffering that there are options that are not steroids, that are not surgery. You owe it to yourself to find out about QC Kinetics and find out what they can do for you.
No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Discover QC Kinetics and learn more about natural biologic treatments with lasting results.
Call QC Kinetics 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics 937-936-0325.
Update your bathroom with help from Menards. A brand new Magic Woods vanity is the perfect addition to your bathroom. Magic Woods offers innovative, trend-setting styles to match your lifestyle. With many sophisticated styles to choose from, it's easy to find the right vanity for you. Right now, save big money on vanities from Magic Woods. Plus, check out all the great deals going on now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
The hottest ticket in town.
On Wednesday, February 1st, for the first time ever, AEW Dynamite and Rampage make their way to the Nutter Center in Dayton, Ohio.
Waterville Beach and listen to the play.
This promises to be one of the biggest shows of the year. Don't miss Ohio's own John Moxley.
Get in the ring with me. It's dangerous as all hell.
The AEW World Champion MJF.
I'm a generational talent.
Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Saraya.
I am the revolution.
Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Jamie Hayter, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, The Acclaim.
Everyone loves The Acclaim.
Hook, Hangman Page, Jay, Tony Storm, Adam Cole. The Lucha Brothers, Wardlow, Darby Allin, Sting, Chris Jericho, and the Jericho Appreciation Society.
And that's entertainment.
And many more will be there live.
Oh my God!
Don't miss AEW Live at the Nutter Center. Tickets are on sale now at AEWTix.com. Cards subject to change.
Want to know how you can satisfy every comfort food craving? Stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and try a home-style bowl for only $4.59. You'll get a bowl of our mashed potatoes with breast strip bites, corn, and gravy, all topped off with shredded cheddar cheese to create a truly unbeatable bowl. Get your every wish in one hearty, craveable dish when you try a home-style bowl from Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken for only $4.59. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality, you need a partner that you can count on. If you're a man in this situation, consider contacting Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men navigate complex legal matters for 30 years.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Dayton area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 2689 Commons Boulevard, Suite 100, Beaver Creek, Ohio, 45431. Online at CordellCordell.com.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Welcome back. You listen to the Keith Byars radio show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. You know, let me give you his phone number, 937-518-1410. You can call me or text me, or you can hit me on Twitter also at KAB41. They've been doing a lot of talking today about the games yesterday. We got a lot more to talk about. We're going to talk about them. But before I talk about the Bengals, you know, Bengals had a good season, man. You had a really good season. Nobody wants to hear, man. But keep your head up. There's always next year. But, you know, hey, it's 31 teams going to hear that speech at some point this year. And so far, you know, 30 of them have heard that speech. They got one more team to hear that speech. Next year is going to be our year. There's only two teams left. Two teams standing. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles are still standing tall. You know, and guys, you have to, it's hard to get to the Super Bowl. And it's designed that way. So when you get there, you have to enjoy it. You know, I only played in one Super Bowl, only one, but that's more than a whole lot of people didn't play in any, you know, Super Bowls in my 13-year career. And we got to wait 2 weeks before we see Super Bowl Sunday, which is really, I like this time of the year. I like listening to the radio, some of the advertisers. You know, I don't know how they get it, how the NFL pull that one off where, don't they have a copyright of that, Justin? Only they could say the Super Bowl. If you say Super Bowl in your ad or something like that, you have to get NFL credit. They're going to get some money. So
I should know that. I'm not sure. I know that's March Madness. Like in any kind of promos or advertising, it's very.
Yeah, but now you hear people talk about the big game. Buy that
So is it the
television
Super
for the
Bowl?
big game.
As a PD,
Have
I
it for
should
your
know
big
these rules.
party. This big
Yeah, you're
game
right.
at your party.
Yep.
For the big game. Come stop by and do this.
My boss is like, Kenner, you should know this stuff. You're the one that's leading a lot of our on-air, promo content. I mean, so yeah, the big game. You're right.
Big game.
The big game.
Everybody knows what you're talking about. Just say Super Bowl.
Keith,
No,
you played
can't
in the
say
big
Super Bowl.
game before.
Yes, but the big game, and i.e. the Super Bowl, once early in my career, as a kid growing up, I always wanted to play in the Super Bowl. Then early in my career, I hadn't made the Super Bowl after 2, 3, 4 years. And I'm like, man, all this hype, man. I want to get there, but I am not invited to the party. Man, it's too much hype. Because my first year, I went to the Super Bowl. Pepper Johnson, my college roommate, best friend, my brother, just got different parents. He won the Super Bowl. And I flew out to Los Angeles and Pasadena and watched the Giants beat Denver for the first Super Bowl that I went to. The next year, the Super Bowl was in San Diego, and it was between the Broncos and the Washington Commanders. Used to be called another team from Washington. I went to that game. The only reason why I went to that game, I went to the first Super Bowl because I'd never been to a Super Bowl. Plus, I was supporting my brother. And I said, I ain't going to no more Super Bowls till I play. And then the next year, when Washington made it, I went because that was history, if you will. It had the first game of a black starting quarterback, on the team. So I'm like, oh, I got to go and, be there, be a part of history, watch Doug Williams, play, and, they won the football game. And then after that game, after year 2 of my career of not going to the Super Bowl, and I'm hearing 2 weeks of hype, I'm never going to a Super Bowl again unless I play. Because I was bitter. I wanted to play. Who doesn't dream of playing in the Super Bowl or being on the biggest and the brightest stage of all time? And it took me 11 years into my career to play in the Super Bowl. And I didn't take it for granted. I'm like, guys, Super Bowls aren't guaranteed. You can imagine year 2, year 3, year 4, there's 2 teams going to the Super Bowl, and I'm not on either one of them. That drives you. Let me appreciate it, how hard it is to get there. It's not given. And so you have to cherish the moment, cherish the day, and make the most of it, because it's a dream in a lifetime that will stay with you, forever. But something the Kansas City Chiefs did yesterday, man, they've been to 5 straight AFC championship games. 5 straight AFC championship. And correct me, I don't think I'm wrong. Well, I might. Justin, correct me if I'm wrong. Of those 5 championship games Kansas City have played in, have they hosted all of them? Unless they went to New England for one?
I can't remember. I think the very first one he played in, I think, was New England. But I can't remember if it was in New England or in Kansas City. I don't remember. I can't remember how many years in a row that they've been the team hosting it.
Yeah, but they've been to 5 in a row. That's rare.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Pittsburgh.
That's like the Cavs in the
70s
finals.
didn't do that.
That's like the Cavs in the finals for that 5-year stretch where LeBron was back in Cleveland for the second run. Like,
yeah,
that's just.
I mean, those are just some big boy feats that people just take for granted. So yeah, I'm glad to do it. But not only did I was in the stadium to see Doug Williams, the first African American quarterback, play in the Super Bowl, we have another first. This Super Bowl 57 will, barring anything extenuating happen, where the 2 starting quarterbacks would be 2 black guys, African Americans. Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. That's history. Makes me almost want to go to Super Bowl again. I don't know. Maybe say, hey, I was there for the first black quarterback to play in the Super Bowl. Now I'm here for 2 starting quarterbacks. So that's some progress, from that standpoint to see, I think that's the barrier we've broken down, still to be broken down more in a lot of other areas of the NFL. But that's something to see. I mean, that's going to be one of the storylines that you'll talk about over the next 2 weeks. And, but it's a storyline, but it's not the story. Would you agree with that, Justin? It's not the story that we have 2 African-American quarterbacks. That's just part of the storyline of many stories to be told over the next 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, no, for one, absolutely. Yes. It's just like every other talking point. I don't think there's one talking point of anything, but it should be at the top of the priority list as far as pushing that narrative. Because when I heard that, I was like, no, that ain't That ain't true. Now, we've had a lot of African American quarterbacks finally, especially as more opportunities throughout the league have kind of opened up. We've had a lot more African American quarterbacks lead teams to Super Bowls or played in Super Bowls. But I was like, I guess, yeah, we've never seen two African American quarterbacks go head to head in the Super Bowl like this. So, yes, that is something to highlight as well.
Yeah, so that's progress.
Isn't it weird that we've seen two African American head coaches go head to head in the Super Bowl
before two
quarterbacks?
Yeah.
And it's like pulling teeth to get African American head coaches right now in the league and everything along those lines.
All right, you trivia people out there listening, I know the answer. I believe Justin Kenner knows the answer. Who were the two black coaches that played, they're coaching each other in the Super Bowl? Do y'all remember? Do you remember? I do. You know why I remember? Because I was there. I was there. I'll give you a clue. It was in Miami. You need another clue? I'm about telling y'all the answer. Purple Rain was the halftime show. I got to see Prince sing Purple Rain in the rain.
So it was the Bears and the Colts?
Yeah, it was the Indianapolis Colts and the Chicago Bears.
See, I have to admit, it's not as if I remember that off the
top
of my head.
You didn't remember off the top of your head. I helped you out.
The clue, the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire clue that was dropped.
There you go. Yeah, that's one of my favorite days of my life, because not only was I at that game, I had 2 tickets, and me and my son went, and I was real close to selling those tickets that day, but I decided to keep them. And my son, his favorite player in the NFL at that time was Devin Hester for the Chicago Bears. And his favorite team at that time was the Indianapolis Colts. And so they both played in the game. Prince was a halftime show. It was raining the whole day. We go to the game, and it was just like a constant drizzle. The rain didn't even bother you after a while. And Devin Hester takes the opening kick out off back for a touchdown. Oh, my son was going crazy. He got to see his favorite player return the kickoff. The Indianapolis Colts won the football game. Not only was he happy for Devin Hester to score a touchdown, he also saw his team win the game. And as we are walking out of this, and plus I got to see Prince. I got to see Prince sing Purple Rain in the Rain. I was jamming every hit he was playing that day at the halftime show. So we're walking to the car amongst thousands of fans that attended that Super Bowl in Miami. And my son is 12 years old at the time. When he was 2, was his first Super Bowl he ever went to. That was Super Bowl 31 when I played in the Super Bowl. And, he saw me score a touchdown. He doesn't remember a lot of it. And but I scored a touchdown, pointed to the stands to where my family was. And I spiked the football all the time, but I didn't spike that ball. And I was teasing my son. I said, "Hey, man, I'm going to sell these tickets." And, you're like, "Daddy, don't do that." I said, "Man, you've been to the Super Bowl." "Daddy, I was 2. "Yeah, but you're 12 now, but you've been to the Super Bowl." And so he wouldn't let me sell them. That was one of the main reasons why I didn't sell him. I was just really teasing him. I wasn't going to sell him because he really, really wanted to go to that Super Bowl to see, his favorite player and his favorite team. But like I said, as we were walking out of the stadium, it was still raining. My son grabs me by the hand at 12 and just stops me for a moment in a corner of the stadium and said, Dad. And I'm like, what's going on, man? What's up? He just said, "Daddy, thank you for bringing me to the game today. This was the best day of my life." It was raining. And if it wasn't for so much rain that was still coming down, it was rain mixed with tears. I'm a big teddy bear when your kids talk to you that way. Oh man, the floodgates just come right all out of my eyes. I started crying. I sit there and just grabbed him and hugged him and just, "Oh man, you're welcome, man. I'm so glad." He when you get that, once one of these days you become a parent, Justin, the moment I'm describing to you would be even more realer to you, and especially the listeners out there who are parents. When your kid gives you that unrequited, unexpected "I love you" and "thank you," it just means more. It just goes straight to the heart. And I was like, and I told that story at his wedding, this particular, when he got married back in November. And, we still, talk about that, over the years, more and more. And he reminded me when I told him that story at his wedding. He said, "Dad, do you also remember on the way home we got a flat tire?" I'm like, I forgot about that. But at that point, who cared I had a flat tire on my way home? We had already seen the Super Bowl, and I was like, "You're right. I did call AAA. We're on the side of the road on the highway waiting for AAA to show up." But, even a flat tire couldn't damper that moment and that day. And so that's one of my best Super Bowl memories, of that day, of getting the opportunity, to spend time, with my son. Then when I got home that night, my daughter gonna tell me, "Dad, I really did want to go to the game, but I know you only had 2 tickets, so I just figured I just didn't want to go." I'm like, "Girl, I'd have got a third for you if you really wanted to go that bad." And her mom was like, "Well, she told me that after y'all left." I was like, I would have bent over backward to get the third ticket if I was absolutely positively wanted to go. But my daughter, her favorite team is the Patriots. My son's favorite team, he doesn't really have one now, but it is Indianapolis Colts. But I'm like, man, I played for 4 teams. You couldn't choose one of my 4 teams? And he told me, "Dad, I like Indianapolis because I like their helmets." A white helmet with a blue horseshoe? That's what you like? You don't like that Philadelphia Eagle bird, that wing, or the Miami Dolphin? I mean, hey, kids are kids. What do you say? And it just comes back all the way full circle, because when I was a kid, my favorite team was the Cleveland Browns. I loved everything about the Browns. I loved their uniforms, the helmets, the whole 9 yards. And my father was from Pittsburgh. He was a Steeler fan, and the whole family was Steeler fans, except for me. My father was like, "How are you not a Steeler fan?" I said, "'Cause I like them Cleveland Browns." On the Cleveland Browns. So I guess my son is giving it back to me. I'm like, "How are you not an Eagle fan? How are you not a Dolphin fan? How are you not a New England Patriot? How are you not a New York Jet?" And he went total opposite. So, hey, I get it. So, Justin, when you do have children one of these days, do you think you're going to raise them as what? Cowboy fans or Browns fans? Are you going to let them decide?
I don't think kids are in the plans, but Browns fans, that way.
Kids, you said they're not in the plan. Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, just because I don't need, anytime I bring the kids to work day, I don't need Keith yelling, "Fly, Eagles, fly," at my kids every time I bring them by the station. So,
you're going to raise them as Browns fans? If you
Browns fans, but then, if I ever go visit the grandparents or the parents.
Anybody ever asked you that question I just asked you?
No.
Good,
But, bring the kids around the grandparents. I might have a little cowboy clothes to put, just depending on where we go.
Okay. No, man.
Just blend it.
You blend
it.
Yeah, okay. Divided home early.
I'm wearing my Browns hoodie today.
All right.
Some said it was in a trolling effort. I said it was because it was the only thing clean, but whatever.
Well, we'll see about that show later on this afternoon. Well, also, the non-football news of the day. 2 stories, the non-football news. I'm watching a football game last night. I didn't realize I missed the story last week where Billy Packer passed away. Great CBS, announcer, been around for who knows how many years. Billy Packer, he's just synonymous with March Madness and the Final Fours. Billy Packer's there calling all those basketball games. He called a variety of sports, but Billy Packer passed away. So rest in peace, Billy Packer, one of the greatest announcers of all time. And another non-football story was, we have Hall of Fames, and Hall of Fame is a great, great, great accomplishment to be in. And other professional sports Hall of Fame, I guess the hardest one to make is baseball. Why is it the hardest? Because it's run by a bunch of jerks. I just keep it plain. It's just a bunch of jerks. I don't get what they're doing, why they're doing, or what's the purpose of the things that they do. I mean, and Scott Rowland made the Hall of Fame, from the baseball writers of America. They voted him in, and I'm not saying he's not deserving of being a Hall of Fame. It's not what I'm saying is against Scott Rowland. But it's just a ton of other players that I don't know if they're ever going to get in, or will they get in? What are they waiting on? They're not getting any younger. But, I mean, a player that stands out to me, who I grew up watching, and I think he's, in all measures, what are you looking for a Hall of Famer, would be a player, played third base, You know, he played for the Chicago Cubs, the Pirates, the Rangers. Had a long career. 15 seasons in a Major League Baseball. Won World Series with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Batting king. 305 career average, 2,000 hits, 163 home runs. I mean, great glove. What are you looking for? Bill Madlock. Why is he's 72 years old? Why is he not in the Hall of Fame? I don't get it. 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 3-time All-Star, World Series champion, 4-time National League batting league champ. From 75, 76, 81, and 83, batting leader. But yet he's not in the Hall of Fame. What are they looking for? I have no idea. Was he a dominant player? Absolutely. Was he as dominant or more dominant than Scott Rowland? Absolutely. But I don't want to compare him to Scott Rowland. Scott Rowland's a Hall of Famer, and so is Bill Madlock. Bill Madlock played in the 70s and 80s, which, in my opinion, some of the best years ever of baseball. A few years ago, NFL celebrated 100 years of the NFL being around. And, I was like, what was the best era of the NFL during that 100-year period? And I said, well, define an era. I define an era by a 25-year period. You average somebody played, between 10, 15 years, and you go about 5 to 10 years before that time started, and another 5 to 10 years after your playing time. That would be when you said, this thing I played in my era. Usually about a 25-year period kind of touches it both sides. And so the greatest 25-year period that I've seen in the NFL, where it was the best of the best the NFL ever been, for me, and for a whole lot of others, I would say from 1970 to 1995. That was the best NFL period ever, because you had more offenses in, more diversification in coaches, players, positions, everything. The defenses, the offenses have, that's when they did the most, change. And now it's just a derivation, a derivative of what we saw in the 70s and 80s and 90s. The offenses you see today, the defenses you see today. So in baseball, I start my 25-year era of baseball a little earlier. I say from 1960 to 1985 was the best baseball period, era of baseball ever. I mean, you look at the pitchers, the hitters, the coaches, the personalities, the teams. From 1960 to 1985, that was the best, purest baseball period era ever, bar none. And you look at all the great players that played baseball, not just in that 25, but the majority of the greatest baseball players ever played in that 25-year period. Of course, there's some people that played prior to 1960, but most of them played, past that. And, there's some great players that played after 1985, of course. But the volume and the talent was the best ever from 1960 to 1985. We'll talk about that more and more in the weeks coming. But eras, when you define eras. What about eras in the NBA? What 25-year period would you say in that? Some people with these Johnny-come-latelys, they would say, well, from 1998 to now. Really? Really? That's the question we're going to talk more about in the coming weeks, Justin. When you talk about eras and what 25-year period would you deem the best? And for me, NBA, it would still go back 1970 to 1995. Or 1975 to 2000, if you want me to stretch it. But that's about it. But it would have to get all of 80s and 90s and some 70s basketball. But we'll talk about, that's a topic we got to get to more and more. I'm up against the clock. I'm running out of time. But again, congratulations to the AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs. Cincinnati, you got a chance again next year, as well as the Cleveland Browns. And congratulations to my Philadelphia Eagles are the NFC champions. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to come in here on Super Bowl Monday, which should be the Super Bowl holiday. Today, Christmas, Super Bowl ought to be a holiday, but Monday is a holiday. A lot of people take off work. But I'll be here Monday after the Super Bowl talking about how my Philadelphia Eagles pulled out that victory over the Kansas City Chiefs. But I got to wait 2 weeks to tell you that story. But in the meantime, I will be back here next week. Rise and shine. And, hey, let's enjoy the day. Not a lot of sun outside, but let the sunshine be in your heart and spread that love to each other. In the meantime, in between time, get out and do random acts of kindness for your fellow man. Have a great day.
It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio. WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Now, you did.
That was just
a
tease.
You did in the meeting. I swear to God, you are like
Hold on.
You are
Hold
Michael
on.
Jackson moonwalk.